Good morning. It's very, very exciting to see all you guys here. It means you guys are serious about making money, making music, and moving your careers forward. We're very, very happy you came. Please give yourself a hand. You can spread those secrets to the others that aren't here. But my name is Jay Warsinski. I'm a 40-year veteran in the industry. I started as a player many, many years ago, and realized that not only did I love music and entertainment so much, but I wanted to do it all my life. So I transitioned after starting playing instruments at 6 and turning pro at 11. By the time I was 16, I was in the business because I wanted to help people like you, creative people, grow in their careers and blossom to great producers and entertainers and session men and women and all sorts of jobs. A lot of people think there's only artists and maybe guys that run studios, but there's many, many ways to make a living in the business, and every key, spoke in that wheel is a really important part of the overall. But I've had the supreme pleasure for the last 35 years in Los Angeles running promotion and marketing distribution for some of the greatest artists and launching people to the stratosphere. People like U2 and Metallica and Guns N' Roses and Eminem and Dr. Dre and many, many people. You'll see my credits, and hopefully we'd love to reach out and speak to each one of you after the session, or we'll pass our cards around. But I am the founder and CEO of Indie Power, one of the greatest platforms and resources for independent artists, producers, managers, and labels. We scour the globe every day to make sure that you guys have access to the best of the best. And that's from promotion, marketing, publicity, distribution, all the opportunities that are out there. When you look at trade shows and conventions like this, anybody up here that knows me knows I'm all over the world every day, feeding my mind so I can help my clients and the people that are serious about this business. Because having seen a band like U2, their first show they did in Orange County, they played for 12 people, about as many people as the first 2 rows saw U2 at Woodstock, the first show. Within a year, they didn't headline, they opened the US Festival. Anybody see Steve Wozniak, the founder of Apple, yesterday? He talked about the US Festival he ran in the 80s. And U2 stole the show in front of 300,000 people. They came on at 10 a.m. For the next 12 hours, including David Bowie, The Pretenders, Joe Walsh, Stevie Nicks, Missing Person, no one topped the buzz, the excitement that U2 had. So he went from 12 people to 300,000 people. 3 days later, they filmed the Live at Red Rocks concert that took over MTV. They became the biggest group in the world, going from 12 people to that in 1 year. Saw it with Metallica, saw it with Guns N' Roses, saw it with Eminem and a lot of other people. So, there's no secret formula, there's not a magic wand or any fairy dust that we can give to you, but it's about great content, great work, a real passion for this. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is all the different ways to make money in the business. And before we go, we also want to let you know about IES, the Indie Entertainment Summit. So what we're doing today times 100 over 4 days, right out here by Universal Studios every August. People come in from across the country and around the world for it. So hopefully a lot of you will be able to join us and really expand and explode your careers. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to our illustrious panel. It's going to impart a lot of great knowledge, and of course we're only the tip of the iceberg today. So please plug in. We'd like to give you so much more information and help you grow. But first off, we have Joanne Ledesma. If any of you were here yesterday, she was a big part of our panel with Kevin Lyman, Ben McLean, and a lot of great people in the industry. Joanne's a longtime veteran. She works with artists in growing careers, and a film and TV music expert, does a lot of placement of music out in multimedia, and she's got a wealth of knowledge. Next to her, we have an exciting new recording artist and producer. Drix is a EDM artist and a producer, writer. He's playing at festivals and a lot of big EDM shows around the country, and soon to be a household name. We're very excited to have him. He's been a part of IES since day one, and again, a lot of knowledge from the artist standpoint. Next to that, we have Zach Cortez, who is a publicist. It's all about getting the word out. You can have the greatest music in the world, but if no one knows about it, and they don't know why they should come to your shows or care about you, you know, it's like we talked earlier, you can be in your own bedroom and be a star in your house, and even your next door neighbor doesn't even know about you. So multimedia, very, very big part of the industry. Next to that, we have Ravi, who is an entrepreneur. He's a multifaceted person. We were just talking about he wears a lot of hats, but only one at a time. He was the guitarist for a multi-platinum group, sold millions of records around the world, sold out shows, a lot of screaming fans, and he is here to impart his knowledge on the industry and how to make money in the multitude of ways. It's also a big part of IES. So the expanded version of what we're talking about today will be out here in August. Next to that, we have DCAT, who's an award-winning producer. His new single features Snoop Dogg, and he's working with a who's who in the industry, producing hit-making quality records and taking the talent, you know, from the artists and really putting that on a world-class platform. And last but not least, just flew in from Seattle, who's a longtime associate of mine, and we're about to do some big, big things together. He is a recording artist, performer, singer, and songwriter. He is a entrepreneur and an activist. He's very involved in social causes, and he's going to be talking to you about some of the big things that are about to go down. This is Cheyenne Salah. Please, we give it up for our illustrious panel. We're going to have hopefully a little time for, you know, a couple questions and stuff. So I'll let you know when we get to that point. You know, we have limited time today, so we're going to get right into it. We're just going to pass these mics around and just jump in. Everybody feel free to just exchange and, you know, empower. But we're talking about all the different ways to make money making music. Obviously, a lot of you make music as a passion. You love to do it. It's very exciting. It's fulfilling. But wouldn't it be great to be able to do this as a career? Or maybe you're not the artist. Maybe you're the producer or the manager. Maybe you're the concert promoter, or you're running a label or a production company, or maybe you make videos or films. You know, the lines are completely blurred between music, film, TV, reality, touring, technologies. It's all, I call it lifestyle marketing, because it's all stuff that we love to consume. So it's not in a box. But if anyone wants to jump in, we're going to be talking about obviously making money from recorded music, downloads, CDs, DVDs. We're going to be talking about streaming. We're going to be talking about obviously session, you know, being a hired hand to make recordings, make touring musicians. Also talk about a lot of the areas of composing for film and TV, making money in multimedia, and a lot of great areas like that and then some. So take it away.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's an honor to be here with these special people. The biggest question I have at NAMM this year is, how do I make money as an independent artist with my music? How do I find the buyers? So obviously this is going to be one way. The number one answer I give is networking and to get out of your bubble, so that you can, you know, projects where you think maybe there may not be money, there actually may be money, and equity, different products. You know, in my seminars I ask, can you name 10 ways to make money besides a record label and being on film and TV? Okay, so there's lots of ways to make money, but you have to learn about the business. So the 3 things for me that I want you to walk away with on how to make a career in this business is have good networking skills, have someone on your team or learn the business, current business, because it's changing every year, you know, Spotify, right? Every day. And then have quality music. Because you can, if you don't have all 3, you may just be a one-hit wonder. So I'm talking career and building relationships. And I'm talking about relationships, Drix.
Yeah. You can't put yourself in a box, you know. I mean, a lot of people, especially coming from a lot of alternative sort of styles, like either dance music or just really heavy guitar styles, you know, you can't be genre specific. You have to be sort of open to, you know, getting out of your comfort zone and understanding that, you know, taking those steps could lead to a lot more, and building your own equity and, you know, giving, you know, whoever you're working with, whether it's your fans or one of your peers or somebody on your team, you know, you just have to be, you know, trustworthy, sort of pleasant, and know the networking and marketing and being able to provide, you know, something. You know, you have to provide each other and scratch each other's backs. You know, don't focus all on yourself, and, you know, give, you know, put your best foot forward. You know.
One quick example we have is like, and we had this conversation about an hour ago, is had I not introduced you to DCAT, would if someone said, would you like to meet a producer who does R&B because you're doing EDM? He said, I might have said no. But he trusts me as his manager or his business person. He didn't ask, why do I want to have a meet and greet with DCAT over here, who's a producer in R&B, he's worked with great guys like George Clinton. So we do the meet and greet. It turns out he needs a couple of his new songs to be remixed in the house version. And there you go. And as a result of that conversation and the trust and having someone on your team who understands the business, he was able to meet DCAT, and now he's in the video with DCAT and Snoop Dogg that comes out February 9th. That's what we're talking about. He's still doing EDM music, but he's working with a great R&B artist that's opened even more doors than he had prior to the meeting. That's networking.
All right, I'll jump in here. The band that I was with was Hanson. We were the top-selling band in the world back in the late 90s. And for me, that was the Harvard Business School of rock and roll. I learned so much about this industry in that process. Every day was a learning process. And what was really interesting about it too is that 2 years later, everyone that I had networked with, everyone that I had always wanted to meet, were all looking for a job. The entire industry collapsed right around me. And all of a sudden I was getting the resumes of the people that I would hope were looking at my resumes. And so I had to come up with a way out, and had to come up with building business models, multiple streams of income, building a new network, all the different things that we're thinking of. And I still to this day work really hard at it. I'm on the road 2014, 250 days. 2015 coming up, 200 days already booked this year. And a lot of it is speaking. A lot of it is doing stuff like this and meeting people and building up that network. There's a phrase, what your network is your net worth. And I think that's really, there's a lot of truth to that. And it's not about the quantity of people either that you meet. It's about the quality of the relationships that you build. And I was just thinking of that because I've actually cooked dinner for you and your wife once, right? I mean, we've known each other for like 10 years. And ever since Hanson days. And that's what it is. And we've never worked together. Not yet. Not yet. But that's what it's about. It's building a relationship without necessarily a defined objective, but building friendships and sincere relationships. And when you do that, man, so many good things come out of it at some point, one way or the other, because there's nothing better than working with your friends.
Keeping it real.
All about building those relationships, just like the relationship you want to ultimately have with your fans, you know, your consumers. These days, there's so many ways to deal directly with your consumers. Before, the rock stars, the celebrities were kind of shielded, but now, like Kevin Lyman from Warped Tour said yesterday, you know, you want to get out there and shake the hands and sign whatever they want and hope they put it up on their walls, because these are the people that will pay you, you know, if you are a touring artist or a musician. And the relationships in a business, like they say, can make or break your career. It's the quality of those relationships, the depth of them. Not that they're going to do something for you just because they like you, but if two people are equally talented and are ripe for the opportunity, but they know one of them, they trust them, they have history with them, it goes without saying which one is going to get the job.
Well, I don't know where to start. Let's start all the way in the past. When Robbie mentioned Hanson, Hanson played in our good friend's backyard right before they got their record deal. Maybe they had the deal, but it was such a networking party. And we talked Hanson's father into not selling his publishing. He kept the publishing, they had a record deal, the record company wanted to publish him bad because Bop was already blowing up. They gave us a chance, and the company was called Heavy Harmony Music, and we actually went territory to territory and got 100,000 out of France, 300,000 here and there. They made over $1 million in publishing without selling any of their rights. So we were the administrators for the publishing. Actually back then, I actually have a Hanson plaque, and I mean, my kids used to hang out, you know what I'm saying, with them. It was really natural. So like when he speaks about the relationships and starting small, I mean, this actually happened right in the backyard of Canoga Park, you know. And I mean, same thing with Drix. I mean, we were actually working on a film and television library. And so not everything is glamorous nowadays, you know. So like, I mean, for example, I would tell all of you guys to, everything has to be a certain quality and a certain caliber, right? So like if that's a given, get as much material finished as you can. We have over 5,000 songs in our library now, and it's film and television. And what's crazy though, it's like 5 songs is making all the money, but just having that many songs, then like you're able to do blanket licenses. In a sense, like if you got a friend that has 10 albums, and if you're a good salesperson, you know what I'm saying, tell that person you'll represent those songs for you. I mean, Joanne, she's doing that type of stuff for us, and it's just networking like crazy. Let alone that like you can remix, you can flip, you can duplicate yourself. So, I mean, I've been in the music business all my life, and it's been kind of funny that like, I've always been into the business of music. And this is actually my first panel, so. So thanks,
You know,
Dave.
what he's talking about is building your equity. And a perfect example that I have is actually your example. He's done music through all these years, right? Tell him about the Super Bowl commercial last year. Was that a song that you just finished?
You know, actually the funny song was the Test Drive by Jeff Gordon. Anybody see the Jeff Gordon? It's got over 43 million hits, right? We gave that song to a small music library. He just cherry picked off of our library. He gave it to APM Music, which is very hard to get to yourself. So like, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing, having a small part of something big. He took all the publishing, and we were tripping. We were like, we want to sell all the publishing? So, I mean, like we have 33% of the songwriting only, right? All of a sudden, it was like a year, we started seeing these little checks, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 7,000, 10, over and over and over. And after the YouTube hits, then it became a national, you know what I'm saying, commercial. And I mean, like you said, the next thing you know, like it's playing on the Super Bowl and it's playing places, like your royalties just go crazy just having just a little small part. So if you ask me what I am, I'm a publisher first, even though we're musicians, like we're all musicians, you know what I'm saying, or dealing like in content, but the main thing is, I'm saying, know your copyright ownership is very important. And don't be afraid to share it. I mean, put yourself in a 360 deal if you have to, and just share everything that you have with everybody. You know. I'm gonna get up.
My story is vastly different. It's an entirely different road. I got my start coming out of college as a football player. I grew up, my pops collected records, and in our family, performance was everything. So as a record collector, we were exposed to everything from the Bee Gees and Elvis Presley to Earth, Wind and Fire, James Brown, to KRS-One and UTFO, to, I mean, you name it, Crosby, Stills and Nash. We had a little bit of all of it. So the thing that I want to really be able to convey is the importance of loving what you do and tapping into the experience of why you even chose the business, why you're creative in the first place, and really owning that initial spark, that initial process. My good friend, talk about networking, he was a traditional church choir singer, moved into R&B, ended up going to Howard University and becoming best friends with Marlon Wayans. I get a phone call in college asking if I had any interest, if I was still singing, if I was still interested in music and entertainment, performing. And I said, yeah, I was pretty tired of football, tired of getting banged up and hurt. And I'd like to be able to walk my kids around when I have them one day, so I thought I'd take a look at it. I'm an airline kid, so travel was really cool to me. I was raised, my mom spent over 30 years at United Airlines, so any opportunity I got a chance to get on an airplane, I was game for it. So I come down to Hollywood, and my first experience in the business was on the Wayans Brothers television show. And I just fell in love with the business. I fell in love with every aspect of it. The work ethic that I saw on those sets was it was phenomenal. 18-hour days, tons of creativity. I developed some amazing relationships with lawyers and agents and so on and so forth. Now, mind you, I just wanted to come down and do music, but my career actually started getting opportunities to act and model and so on and so forth. It wasn't until a couple of years afterwards that I landed my first record deal, and in the course of it was given an opportunity to go do a show. It was a walk for HIV awareness. It was going to be held in Beverly Hills. And at the time I was really scared because I knew very little about HIV and AIDS awareness, and certainly didn't know anything about performing in that kind of an environment. But I took the opportunity and it changed my life. For me, that's where activism started. I always wanted to do it, I always wanted to be someone that gave back, but that moment let me know that not only was this industry destined to change, but the way you had an opportunity to deliver music was extremely vast, and certainly wasn't contained within four walls, because here I was performing in front of an audience of people that were directly affected by a disease. And cause marketing and consumer intimacy is what I call it now, was born for me. I saw people while I was performing crying and hugging and telling stories and dealing with things. When I got off the stage, I was approached by so many people that it was just crazy. And for all the performing and everything I've done, even up to that time, I never had an experience like this where there was a true strand of intimacy between me and who was listening. From there, that put me on a trajectory of going to schools and colleges and community centers all over the country and internationally as well. And I would basically turn audiences like this, people that were there for a specific reason, and I'd be able to talk about that or lecture about that and perform. And no one at the time was really doing it. It was like, you're performing where? Middle schools, high schools, colleges? What school you at? Texas, A&M, Tech, State, University, junior college? Anywhere I could go, I would be there to win over fans. But what I found was interesting is that they were there for a particular reason. And it would follow. So a year later, I'd still get letters or emails or, hey man, I remember you, I thank you for coming out that day, that changed my life, or that made my day, or you helped my mom, or my mom still plays your music, or what have you. So I knew then I had something that was really, really interesting and unique, that dealt directly with fan building, that dealt directly with being able to communicate my music to people for a deeper cause, and still be able to go into clubs and arenas and all that other stuff as well. It helped me so much that today I'm knee-deep in a project of converting the music experience in the Starbucks stores globally. And it's one of those things that my thing is to leave you guys with the understanding that if you really love what you do, and you really want people to love what it is that you do, or what it is you have to offer, or to respond to it, it can be done, but you definitely got to think outside of the box. At the end of the day, without the consumer, all the creative things we do absolutely don't even matter at all. None of these businesses matter, none of these brands matter, none of the music matters if people aren't there to consume it. So I would say, to add to your repertoire of whatever it is you're doing, find something you love, find something you care about, and integrate yourself in that somehow. Give of yourself in that somehow, especially in today's market where virally and socially there's so much activity going on, so much free promotion comes as a part of that. So that's my 2 cents on making money.
Hey Zach, why don't you talk about the media and how that can help someone take their creativity and potentially start working in the business world of starting a buzz.
Okay, I operate a PR agency for the performing arts as well as the literary arts industries. And basically there's a PR agency for every industry, A to Z, automotive to zoos. And for us in the entertainment and literary worlds, we do 3 things. Even though we may have niche markets within that field, ours is full service. So we pursue sponsorships is one of the 3 things. Media, of course, we get all media, television, radio, print, and internet-based too, and offer industry referrals to others who help advance careers. And as Shay was saying, media is a big part of it, but it's not the only thing we do, but you definitely, you know, if you should be doing some of it yourself as indie artists, you know, the do-it-yourself. And you are a business or an entrepreneur. And I think for some people, especially young people, they don't necessarily think of themselves as that way, but that's what we all are. And you try to get yourself in that frame of mind and how to operate your business and your operating costs that you're going to need to do it. And Ravi could probably talk a lot more in depthly about it. And I know we only have an hour, it's going to go by fast, so I try to keep things short and sweet. But media is our artists that we work with have been featured in all platforms that help for two reasons. One, increase their fan base so people can go out there, know what they have, listen to their music, their songs, and go out and purchase it. And also to the industry itself on the business side. So others, you know, if they want to take a next step and get a talent agency behind them, try to get a record label behind them. So we were immersing them in both arenas, both on the business side as well as to the masses.
You know, I wanted to jump on something that Cheyenne said, because doing what you love is really important, obviously. Makes us happy. More people should do what they love.
It's not really work if you love, right?
That's what Confucius says. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
That's it.
So, but it is work still, and but it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's an
Enough of
adventure.
the cliches. But you can also do two things that you love, and that's what I've done. And it's turned into something I didn't expect it to turn into. 2008, when the economy tanked, my wife turned to me and said, "You know, you're not touring as much as you used to be. You always wanted to learn to fly an airplane. Now you got the time." So I got my pilot's license in 2008. And I thought it was pretty much the coolest thing I had ever done. And then I stumbled on some weird statistics, like 49.7% of pilots play a musical instrument. And the first thing I thought of were all the companies here that I have endorsement deals with. And how can I start marketing their products to this perfect target market? And so there launched the Raviator folding guitar from Voyager, for example, targeted towards, my name's Ravi, I'm the Raviator in aviation. It's my brand. So we got the Raviator folding guitar specifically targeted for the aviation market. So it gives you an idea of what happens is when you start pursuing your passions, you can all of a sudden find your niche market at the intersection of those passions, and you own that. And it's really pretty cool. And, you know, people will now, when I'm at an air show, people are always like, "Oh, look, there's Ravi, this is a musician." When I'm at NAMM, it's like, people say, "Hey, this is Ravi, he's a pilot." You know, it's the differentiator between me and every other musician at a music show. It's the differentiator between me and every other aviator at an air show. And the other thing that I wanted to jump on that you said is the idea of giving back. I think that's such an important component. And the third thing that I do, okay, artist, aviator, and activist, 3 A's, is I build boarding schools for the poorest of the poor in India. And just to give you an idea of what this project is, we take these kids out of the villages at the age of 4, and we pay for their education through their master's degree. We've had our model school for 17 years before I got involved. And so we've now placed these guys at Goldman Sachs, and their families still eat bugs. I'm charged with taking this model school and now building another 28 in the country. But the interesting thing about this that I realize is, when people say to me all the time, "Well, you know, it's so great, you're giving back." I'm not. I'm paying it forward. And there's a big difference. You don't have to accomplish something great before you can start doing something great. And what you find is, at all of our stages, if we make as I always say, there should always be a nonprofit component to every for-profit venture. You find that when you start doing that, it opens up so many doors as well. And it becomes part of what drives your career forward in a very positive way, and also in a very good business way, because these companies right behind here love to be involved with and associated with a brand like mine that also has this non-profit component to it. It's good branding, it's good business, and it's good for humanity. So never forget about that opportunity. It's a crucial 33.4% of what I do. It's got the edge over the other things of what I do.
We're going to get around to asking some questions pretty soon, so when I give the word, please be thinking of your question as it relates to what we're talking about, and hold your hand up. We'll get to you. But I just want to talk about, again, you know, some people say the CD is dead and all that. you know, when Taylor Swift comes out and sells 3 million albums in 2 weeks, believe me, half of those are physical CDs in your Targets and Walmarts and Best Buys and everything. So, you know, vinyl is the fastest growing part of the industry. So we're still in a physical world. As much as people would love to simplify things and act like, you know, there isn't, it's just, you know, iTunes. There's a lot of avenues, and we're going to talk a little bit about streaming. You know, I know some people are confused about that. How do you make money? Because it seems like it's a minute, you know, kind of money on some of the streaming systems. But, you know, recorded music is still alive and well, you know, even though some people act like it has no value and they want to steal it. To me, it's just like robbing a bank. You know, why would you do that? We have some very uniquely talented people in the world here at NAMM, and they make their livelihood off something they've dedicated their lives to, and it has supreme value, and we want to do all we can to let the next generations know that music should be fairly priced, but there's a cost involved, and you should be proud to pay for it and proud to own it. And also, again, a big area of the industry, as some sales have dipped, is the film and TV revenues. You know, there's more avenues than ever for the uses of music. You see them in greeting cards. You're pushing a toy and it's playing a song. There's more and more avenues and webisodes and online, and you know, we feel that there's going to be the long tail. If you know what that is, there's going to be, you might sell less, but there's going to be more opportunities than ever to make a living, you know, making music. And besides being the front person, the artist, the musician, there is the songwriters, there's the session players, there's the touring musicians, there's the road managers, there's the, you know, the publicists and the accountants, and there's a lot of areas that still touch and support the creative sides of all of you, that you can make a living. There's not room for all of us on stage, you know, at the Forum and the Staples Center right now, but believe me, every act that's playing at the Forum and Staples Center, there's at least 100 or more people on their team. And they're doing it for the passion, and they're supporting that great artistry. So if we could talk more specifically about some of the key areas where revenues are generated.
Yeah,
and then we're going to have some questions in a minute.
The tools, they are changing. You know, everybody knows that the industry is changing and sort of the old model is falling out, but as that's happening, there are tons of new tools coming out that are, it's the best time to be independent right now, because things like, you know, the Spotify debate is going on, but I mean, whatever your opinion is on it, you know, it's getting more people to spend money on music. And, you know, might not work for Taylor Swift, but if you're, you know, like a small independent artist, you have your music on Spotify, that's, you know, people can now access it from like everywhere, you know, and you just have to know all the little steps that you can be taking, and, you know, if you don't know, find somebody who does and get them to take those steps for you. Because, you know, little things like as a band, you know, if you're going to tour, you're going to spend a lot of your own money unless you have a way to support yourself. So you need to have music, you know, merchandise. I'm always telling bands, you know, you need to have an email list. Like, don't focus so much on like Twitter and Facebook, although, you know, social media is great. And if you don't know how to use it, you should know somebody who does, and definitely have someone you trust on your team. But I mean, if you know, Facebook updates one day, oh, there goes all my contacts. You know, if you have a direct email list for your fans, it takes out the middleman. You know, so you know, taking steps that might not be, you know, the first one you thought of, you know, can lead to a lot of great things.
And you know, figure out what your platform's going to be, and if it doesn't work, you can change it. I like his platform, which is similar to Trent Reznor, right? We kind of know him from a band, but now there's film, TV, you know, video games, and the more that you branch out, the more you're gonna do, and know each other's specialties. Like, you guys don't know us, but for example, with DCAT All or Nothing, I'm filming TV, so you know what I'm thinking about that song? That song's all or nothing. So I'm thinking NFL clips, right? I'm the film and television person. I'm thinking all the different places. I'm thinking Weight Watchers commercial, you know, all or nothing. I'm my head zooming, and that's my specialty, which he allows with my knowledge to have. He's in the R&B world. He's going to circulate that. He understands how to get his record out in Europe. It's dropping in Europe first, right? And then it comes here. He understands the business model of that. And then, but he has the knowledge to understand that right now EDM and music in America and Europe is hot. So then he brings in a young EDM artist to help him remix his song, because he knows that's like 3 versions of your song in 3 different sort of arenas is more than one. And so we understand each other's specialty. So we're all behind the same song, but you can see the 3 different hats that we kind of wear. And so I just want to show you the different business model, because with Drix here, who I manage, he has video games. He has 3 Monster commercials. He has, this is only last year's, the DCAT with Snoop Dogg and George Clinton. He's got just multiple aspects. And now teaching, we're giving back, we're donating our time teaching at Hip Hop School of Arts, which is an inner city school for now 700 kids. He's teaching for free the producing and engineering. He did the Power Rangers dubstep, right? 8 million hits on YouTube. So his model is, if it's something that he can work with multiple talented people like this, he's gonna figure out where he fits in and then do it, and figure out where their specialty is and allow them to run with that. Does that make sense? So learning, people's resumes, that's gonna open up more doors, instead of saying, not having a business manager and saying, oh, I don't need to meet an R&B producer on EDM. Okay?
Nothing great is done by yourself.
Drix actually touched on something too, guys, email list. It's not just your own fans.
If you wonder how does a song get millions and millions of hits, right? You actually may have to buy some email lists. And what you do, I mean, this is really confidential stuff. The publicist is going to kill me, right? But I mean, really, and I'm saying from in some legitimate places, right? So let's say, your kid is a pop artist, and you're going to have to spend some money, but why not spend the money in a certain place? So let's say it's Kiss FM. You can't buy airplay, payola and all that type of stuff, but actually could you buy part of their mailing list for their, so maybe they have 500,000 subscribers just on their website. It's you can actually buy to do a blast or barter, with other companies, or join a subscription to some company where you can, maybe you can't put out 5,000 at the same time, but could you afford 300 a month and be into a subscription with 1 million emails or something? So when you know your niche and you know your territory, really, save your money and be ready. So many people look down on certain places. If you think about it, it could be a great thing. If you're a rap artist and if you can open up for any kind of dope, West Coast artist here, how much do you have to pay to get on that show? Maybe it's $1,000. That could be a great $1,000 if you know you got a cool song and you pay the promoter, and the next thing you know, once you're actually ready, and if you're good, that same promoter will come back to you and say, hey, I'm doing a show in Arizona, I'm doing a show in Vegas. You want to do those shows too? Maybe not the price as both shows for $1,500, but if you have your stuff, just like Drix touched on, have your product. Maybe a local printer or somebody, right? Maybe he'll give you a 30-day net. Let him hold your credit card and be like, hey, press me 100 t-shirts now. I'm gonna order 1,000, but only give them to me in 100, increments every other week or something like that. And have your product, put yourself, like I said earlier, in a 360 deal. So if you borrow some money from somebody, say hey, forget about selling the records. Maybe you're not gonna sell 100,000 CDs, but half of your audience is live. So if you're out of the show, how many of you are having a good time at a club, somebody got a little hat or they got a t-shirt, you're half buzzed or whatever, and you buy the t-shirt, right? There's nothing to it. Or just ask for a donation. Why try to sell a $5 CD when you can just be hey, give a donation, somebody might love what you're doing and give you a 20. But at the end of the day, that's how you're monetizing your music. It's
and branding too.
And branding.
You guys, in working with a young artist, and it is about branding. It is about branding. What do you think his brand is when you kind of look at him? Turn sideways, that way. Okay. So you got the red sideways. So and then there's little tricks of the trade, real simple. These are what I teach. For example, Fiverr. I use Fiverr. Who knows Fiverr? Okay. So he knows 5 guys that all do graphics, right? So we need Drix designs, Drix t-shirts, Drix hats, Drix album artwork, Drix web stuff, right? But I rather use Fiverr, because for Fiverr, for 20 bucks, I get high-res pictures, and we own them. We own the licenses to them. Instead of his friend that didn't wake up and is in a band and he doesn't want me to use that, and we didn't pay him, he feels we didn't pay him enough because he's worked with Snoop Dogg and DCAT. Okay, all these issues are done. I spend 20 bucks and I can send it to 5 different people and pick the one I like and use. When you look at his videos and you see, if you go to DrixMusic.com and you see the video opens up, it's this robotic arm that spells his name out, Drix, that's a $5, okay? It looks really cool. It looks like I spent, $1,000 on it. It was, a $5. The same thing with his logo, like his t-shirt, it's this face, but it's 8-bit. That was a $5. You're gonna see it in his videos. You'll see it on all of his records that are in film and TV music libraries. He has this. So when people see the brand, no matter what music library you're gonna go, I've heard his music, I know it. They're gonna associate the face with the style of music that they've previously purchased before. So these are just like little tips that you can learn. Because you always have the friend that has the engineer, that has the studio, or the friend that is the graphic designer or whatever. But a part of the business is understanding the license and clearance and being able to use it right away and have it at your fingertips. Okay?
We're going to open this up. Is this mic working? Check, check. There we go. We're going to open this up for a few questions. We're getting in the 11th hour here, and if you raise your hand, keep it succinct, keep it related to everybody. I'm trying to talk about some of the creative ideas you've seen, people making money, being creative, some of the out-of-box ideas that are some things that we haven't talked about.
Sure, I would say for any artist that's just starting, I have a concept that I teach to youth when I go to schools, and that's from right where you stand. And what I mean by that is that regardless of what community you come from, what city or area you come from, somebody there owns that Subway, someone owns the McDonald's, you got a Walgreens there, you got Walmart there, you got every brand, every major brand and company. You don't have to have a national sponsor to get your thing going. You don't even really got to play that game. You can go right where you stand, no matter what city you're in, and you can begin petitioning yourself with local brands, small business owners, letting them know what you got going on. Whether that's you want to invite them to a showcase where it's intimate, cool, you put a little money in, get in a room like this and let your band do their thing, and you invite all the local business owners there, and you raise money for your campaign. A lot of artists are struggling. It's hard to come up with money for studios and merch and all these different things. And even though there's a variety of ways to get it all done, I would say use your local community. Get in there, get a performance at the high school, the local community college, the university, anywhere you can get that makes sense for that small business that may be around that town that may want to get behind you. 250 bucks, 2-hour concert, whatever. XYZ amount of flyers are on the street, X amount of posters on the street. Publicity. Every local town has a newspaper. Maybe they got 2 or 3 different newspapers. Maybe they got a local radio station. If you're active, you can find a way to get involved and just get it going. Because once you get that momentum, and this is big for anyone that's in hip hop, you gotta turn your homies into crew. You can't have the entourage of just hanger-ons. You gotta give them something functional to do, trust me. There's not enough money on the planet to support the entourage. I don't care how much you're making.
Everybody's got to wear a lot of hats. You could be at the party, but also pay your way there.
Yeah, man. Head out some flyers.
Four guys in a van on the road on the Warped Tour. While you're doing those long drives, somebody could be handling social media. Somebody's good at working on the van in case it breaks down in the middle of Idaho. Somebody is the guy who counts the merch and deals with the house, the venue you're playing. You got to wear multiple hats. That's being proactive.
Absolutely, man. That's the ticket right there. Convert know your resources you have right now. Friends and family can play small fundamental roles until you get to the level where you got management, representation, and publicity people and that kind of thing. It's not hard if you focus right where you're at.
We had a question over here. He asked, as far as gaining an email list, besides purchasing lists, how are some of the ideas you've seen to organically grow a list? Just like today, we're passing a clipboard around because this is a very short session. We want to be able to email you more information and also answer further questions you have. Maybe you don't want to hold your hand up in front of a big crowd like this, but we want to be able to help you answer those questions and help empower you to move forward. So any ideas
Yeah,
on
there's a
how
lot
to
of
grow
ideas.
email
Real
lists at
quick,
shows and
giveaways.
things like that?
Giveaways. Give away something. Microphone, t-shirt, maybe your graphic artist designer. Give away, barter, look at, sometimes he gets gear stuff and, I'll give you this or you can come, you and 5 of your friends can come or I'll do a show at your house. If you can get, if you can get 100 people to be on my email list that you think that would be into my music. Look at those families. So there's a lot, I give you a whole list of that stuff, but just think outside the box.
The giveaways are good, and one of the things I do, I have my own app. And so in a lot of these types of situations like this, I'll give away something from one of my sponsors. And what happens is you all enter the giveaway on the app. I'm acquiring your information. And then I do the giveaway right there. Instantly, it's in my phone. And I can do the giveaway. And then I've acquired a massive email list very quickly of people that actually know what I'm about and that I probably met. And I'm usually the last guy to leave a party, typically, and the last guy to leave my gig. I'm always there meeting everybody and shaking everybody's hand personally or any lecture to make that personal contact too, because at the beginning and the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about that relationship.
A website is invaluable. I mean, a lot of people like to rely on social media, but I mean, sometimes they're not always to be trusted, especially if you don't know how that works. Then there's also organically, like if you're in a band, don't just leave after the show. As nice it is to be respectful and enjoy the music of other people as well. You should, I love bands that are at their merch booth, after the show, and then you can not only are you willing to go and give them your money for their product, but you can talk to them face to face and have a real interaction. And that's what A&R people look for too, is that genuine audience connection. So people like that they're gonna love to just give you their email and just keep in touch and outside of the Facebook, Twitter, whatever.
And email is really a safe way. It's not like you're giving somebody your home address or your personal phone number. The one great thing, and there's a lot of celebrities, there's even a lot of big rock stars out here, they don't mind giving their email address because it comes in a computer. Not all of them, they check it and be proactive in responding to people. But again, it's very inconspicuous as far as, again, you're not giving anyone any home information, you're not handing them your wallet or your keys or anything like that. So don't be afraid to get on some lists. Again, a lot of people, we certainly aren't really selling that. It's more about communication, because again, time is short. We're wrapping up right here. We want to further this. And we had one last question here, and he was asking, basically, the industry's obviously changing in a lot of ways, where we used to have consumers that used to go out and buy music in a certain way, and that's obviously evolving right now. And what is the best kind of tack to take? Well, obviously, there's a larger industry. There's a tech part of this industry that's constantly looking for the new mousetrap, how to slice bread a different way. They're constantly trying to come up with something that you're going to follow and be a member of. But I think it's more important to really go with the flow, but have a really proactive approach, meaning we still are in a physical world. So don't give up on the CDs and your vinyl and your t-shirts. That's a big, big area that people are making money on the road and it shows locally and things like that. And then of course, just be proactive. There might be ways that you can create an income stream that no one else has done before. So, I know it's a broad thought to try and reinvent the wheel, but we're living in kind of the wild, wild west days these days, where this giant industry that's been kind of the same way for 50 years is now evolving into all sorts of different offshoots and things like that. What we're gonna do right now, and again, we wanna remind you, please make sure we get your email address and you grab one of our cards, because we at Indie Power would love to talk to you further. And again, promotion, marketing, distribution, and more importantly, IES, the Indie Entertainment Summit's coming up in August out here at Universal Studios. We would love to invite you. Look on the website, read the testimonials. You see, it's changed a lot of people's life. People say it's like going to college, getting your master's degree in 4 days. So it's a little commitment of time, but well worth it. But what we're going to do is all of our speakers here are going to follow me right out this door. There's another panel coming up, and we'll be able to mix and answer further questions right outside in this general area. But thank you so much for coming out. We really love to see you guys prosper and grow. Appreciate it.